Hi Reddit. Thanks for being here. Make sure to subscribe and drop a like. It helps the channel a lot. I never thought my marriage would come to this point. I never thought I'd be sitting here, telling the world how I watched the woman I married slowly drift away from me into the arms, emotionally at least, of another man. And the worst part? It wasn't even a stranger. It wasn't some secret online fling. It was her married coworker. Someone she still insists is just a friend. Someone she refuses to give up, even after everything. And now I'm left asking myself, do I fight for a marriage where I already feel like a third wheel? Or do I let her go to a man who probably doesn't even want her that way? This is where the story ends. But to understand how we got here, I need to take you back. It all started long before hotel rooms, late-night texts, and supportive conversations. Looking back, I can admit I wasn't fully there for her emotionally. I was busy. Work was stressful. My own mental health wasn't great, and I thought as long as I was paying bills, showing up at family dinners, and keeping the roof over our heads, it was enough. But it wasn't. She needed more: connection, intimacy, someone to really listen. And while I thought I was doing okay, she was starving for attention. That's when he came into the picture. Let's call him Mark. Mark was just another face in her office at first. Married, kids, a busy professional. The kind of man you'd never think twice about. But they started talking during breaks, then at lunch, then after hours. She came home one evening and casually mentioned him. Mark said the funniest thing today. She laughed while cooking dinner. I barely paid attention. I nodded, smiled, moved on. But his name kept coming up. More stories, more inside jokes. And every time, her eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen in months. At first, I didn't worry. I thought, good. She has a friend, someone to vent to at work. That's healthy. But soon, the little things started adding up. Her phone lighting up late at night. A soft smile as she typed back quickly. Excuses like, "It's just Mark. He had a rough day." Or, "We're just talking about work. Don't overthink it." And I wanted to trust her. I really did. But that gut feeling started gnawing at me. The breaking point came during her work trip. She was traveling with her team for a conference, and I didn't think much of it. Until I found out later that she'd spent hours, late into the night, alone in his hotel room. And yes, she swears nothing physical happened. She swears it was just talking. But tell me this, what married woman spends the night in another married man's hotel room, sharing personal secrets without knowing she's crossing a line? When she told me, I felt like the ground split beneath me. My wife, my partner, sitting in another man's room at midnight like it was the most normal thing in the world. I confronted her. "What were you thinking?" I asked, my voice shaking. She looked guilty, but not broken. "I just needed someone to talk to," she said quietly. "You weren't there for me. He was." Her words cut deeper than a knife. Was she right? Had I failed her so badly that she turned to another man? Or was that just an excuse for emotional cheating she wasn't ready to admit? The fights started after that. Every night felt like another round in the ring. I told her, "You need to cut him off. This isn't a normal friendship anymore." She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "I can't," she whispered. "He means too much to me. I don't want him like that. But he's been there for me in ways you haven't." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. How could she say that? How could she choose him over me? Even if she claimed it wasn't romantic. Then came the journaling. One night, after another fight, she fell asleep on the couch. I shouldn't have done it, but I peeked into her journal lying on the coffee table. And what I read shattered me. She'd written, "I'm done trying to appease him. I don't even want intimacy with him anymore. But I still love him. I want us to work." I stared at those words for what felt like hours. She didn't even want intimacy with me anymore. But she still claimed she loved me. How do you reconcile that? The worst part? She told me, more than once, that because I couldn't accept her friendship with Mark, she'd probably leave me for someone else one day. Not for him. She swears not for him, but for someone who understands. And yet she looks me in the eyes and says, "I love you. I want to make this work." It's like living in two realities at once. At some point, I just broke. I stopped fighting her. I stopped demanding she give him up, because I realized I was clinging to something she wasn't willing to give freely. And love, at least the kind that lasts, can't be forced. So I told myself, maybe I can just coexist. Maybe we can share a house, share bills, share memories, without really sharing our hearts anymore. But deep down, I know that's not living. That's just surviving. So here I am, telling strangers what I can't admit to my friends or family. That my wife can't give up another man. That I'm sitting here debating whether to stay in a marriage where I'll never be enough. And that part of me already knows the ending. Because when one person has already left emotionally, it's only a matter of time before they leave physically too. The more I tried to move on, the harder it became. I told myself I'd accept her friendship with Mark, but the truth is, it was eating me alive from the inside out. Every time her phone buzzed, I felt my stomach twist. Every time she smiled at a message, I wondered if it was him. And every time she told me, "You're overreacting," it felt like she was minimizing my pain. One night, I finally said it out loud. "I feel like I'm competing with him," I admitted quietly. She sighed, closing her laptop. "You're not competing," she said. "You're my husband. He's just my friend." But her voice lacked conviction. Her eyes didn't meet mine. And in that silence, I heard the truth she couldn't bring herself to say. It wasn't just friendship anymore. At least not to me. Maybe not to her either. But she clung to the word friendship like a shield. And I began to realize that as long as she called it that, she could justify it to herself. The arguments kept escalating. "You don't get it," I snapped one night. "It's not about whether you slept with him. It's about the fact that you chose him for your deepest conversations instead of me." She shot back. "Because you weren't there. You shut me out for months. What was I supposed to do? Suffer in silence?" Her words stung because they weren't completely wrong. I had been distant, but did that give her the right to build an emotional marriage with someone else while still living with me? Another night, the fight got even uglier. I said, "If the roles were reversed, if I had a female coworker I spent nights with in her hotel room, would you be okay with that?" She froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Then she muttered, "It's different." "Different how?" I demanded. Because I know what my intentions were," she stammered. "I wasn't trying to betray you, but betrayal doesn't always require intention. Sometimes it just requires crossing boundaries that should have never been crossed." Days turned into weeks, and the tension only grew heavier. We'd sit at the dinner table in silence, forks clinking, but no words exchanged. Every now and then, she'd glance at her phone under the table, and I'd look away, pretending I didn't notice. But I always noticed. Her journal became my obsession. I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop reading it when she left it out. Every entry felt like a window into her heart, a heart I was losing grip on. One night, I read, "I don't know how long I can keep pretending. I love him, but I don't feel like his wife anymore. I feel like a burden he's stuck with. Mark makes me feel alive. Not in a romantic way, but like I still matter." I sat there, staring at the page, tears burning my eyes. She might not have admitted it to me, but in her heart, she'd already chosen him. I tried to confront her about the journal. "You don't want intimacy with me anymore?" I said bitterly. Her face paled. "You read it." "I had to," I shot back. "You don't tell me what's going on in your head. You write it down instead." Her voice cracked. "I wasn't trying to hurt you. I don't know how to talk to you without it turning into a fight." "Then talk to him instead, right?" I spat. She didn't deny it. I started pulling away after that. I stopped asking questions, stopped checking her phone, stopped trying to win a battle I was clearly losing. But the silence was worse than the shouting. It was like watching someone you love slowly drown, but realizing they don't want you to save them. One night, lying in bed, I finally asked the question I'd been avoiding. "Do you even love me anymore?" She turned her head, staring at the ceiling. "Yes," she whispered. "Ido. But Complicated. Complicated how? Because loving you doesn't feel the same anymore, she admitted. I don't feel passion. I don't feel close. I feel stuck. I felt my chest tighten. She still loved me, but not enough. She began using the word punishment. She'd say, "You're punishing me because I needed someone else," or "You're punishing me for not being perfect." But how could I explain that it wasn't punishment? It was heartbreak. It was betrayal. It was the slow death of everything I thought we had. At one point, she even threw down an ultimatum. "If you can't accept that Mark is in my life," she said coldly, "then maybe you're the one who should leave." Her words left me speechless. This was my wife, the woman I vowed to spend forever with. And here she was, telling me she'd rather keep her coworker than her marriage. But I stayed, because I wasn't ready to give up, because I believed foolishly that maybe, just maybe, she'd come around, that maybe she'd realize I was the one who had always been there, even if imperfectly, that maybe she'd see Mark for what he was, a temporary fix for a permanent wound. Instead, things only got worse. She stopped reaching for me in bed, stopped kissing me goodbye before work, stopped laughing at the jokes that once made her smile. And slowly, the woman I married slipped further and further away. The last fight of this chapter was the one that nearly broke me. It was late. She was texting again. I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Is it him?" I asked flatly. She looked up, guilt flashing across her face. "Yes," she admitted, "but it's not what you think." "It's always not what I think," I snapped, "but it's exactly what I feel. Do you even realize what this is doing to me?" Her eyes filled with tears. "You're making this unbearable," she whispered. "If you can't get over it, maybe we shouldn't be together." And just like that, the words I'd feared all along were finally out in the open. Maybe we shouldn't be together. Maybe this marriage wasn't salvageable after all. And maybe, no matter how hard I tried, I'd already lost her to a man she swore she didn't want. By the time the last confrontation came, I already knew the truth in my heart. I wasn't fighting for our marriage anymore. I was fighting for a ghost of what we used to be, and ghosts don't come back. It started one Saturday morning. She was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, scrolling on her phone. I watched her, noticing the faint smile tugging at her lips. I didn't even have to ask who she was texting. I already knew. Something inside me broke. I sat across from her and said, "We need to talk." And this time, no excuses, no deflections. Just the truth. She set her phone down slowly, almost reluctantly. Her eyes met mine, but they didn't hold the warmth they used to. They were guarded, distant. "I can't live like this anymore," I said. She whispered, "Neither can I." For a moment, silence hung heavy between us. It felt like the end had already been written, and we were just reading it aloud for the first time. "Do you love him?" I asked bluntly. Her lips trembled. "No," she said quickly. "Not like that. But I love the way he makes me feel. I love that he listens. I love that he sees me." Her honesty cut deeper than any lie ever could. I laughed bitterly. "So you don't love him, but you love the version of yourself you get to be when you're with him." She flinched as if I'd hit the nail on the head. And maybe I had. I pressed on. "Do you even want to fix this marriage?" She hesitated, and in that pause I got my answer. Finally, she said softly, "I don't know." It was worse than hearing no, because "I don't know" meant she wasn't willing to fight. She wanted me to carry the weight of both of us, and I was too exhausted to keep carrying her. That night, I packed a bag. She watched me from the doorway, arms crossed, tears streaming down her face. "Where are you going?" she whispered. "I don't know yet," I said, echoing her own words back to her. "But I can't stay here. Not like this." She begged me not to leave. "Please, we can work through this. I just need time. I just need space." I shook my head. "You don't need space. You already filled that space with him." Her face crumbled, but I didn't waver. The next few days were a blur. I stayed at a friend's place. Every night I'd stare at the ceiling, wondering how I went from husband to roommate to stranger in just a few months. And every morning, I'd wake up with the same thought. Maybe this was for the best. She sent me messages, long paragraphs about how she still loved me, how she didn't want to lose me, how Mark was just a symptom, not the disease. But I couldn't unread the words in her journal. I couldn't unhear the hesitation in her voice when I asked if she wanted this marriage. I couldn't unfeel the emptiness in our home. One evening, she showed up at my friend's apartment, tears in her eyes. She said, "I'll cut him off. I'll block him. I'll do whatever you need me to do." For a split second, I wanted to believe her. But then she added, "I just don't know if I'll resent you for it." And there it was, the truth I'd been running from. Even if she let him go, part of her heart would always look back. And I couldn't live the rest of my life competing with a ghost in her memory. I took her hand gently. "I don't want you to resent me," I said. "I want you to want to choose me. And if you can't, then maybe the kindest thing we can do for each other is let go." She broke down sobbing, clutching my shirt, begging me not to give up. But my decision had already been made. Because love without trust isn't love. It's just fear of being alone. The final conversation was brutal. We sat in the living room, surrounded by boxes of the life we'd built together. She asked, "So that's it? After everything we've been through, you're just walking away?" I said quietly, "No, I'm not walking away. I'm setting us both free." She whispered, "What if I regret it?" I replied, "Then maybe you'll learn what I already know. Some mistakes can't be undone." And that was how it ended. No screaming, no grand betrayal exposed. Just two people who once promised forever, now reduced to silence and heartbreak. Looking back, I don't even know if she ever physically cheated. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she never crossed that final line. But in my heart, the damage was already done. Because she gave the best parts of herself to someone who wasn't me. The cruelest part? She never saw it as cheating. She saw it as survival. But for me, survival wasn't enough. I needed love. I needed loyalty. I needed her to choose me. Fully, completely, without hesitation. And she couldn't. So I walked away. Not because I stopped loving her, but because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go of the person who keeps breaking you.